Today I'm going to be reviewing the first Iron Man movie from 2008. Now, this very first Iron Man movie is what began the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Meaning without this first Iron Man movie, we would not have Thor, Captain America, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, or even the Guardians of the Galaxy. Anyway, the movie starts out with Tony Stark in this military transport vehicle. Then explosion goes off, and then he wakes up with shrapnel in his heart. He's been captured by terrorists. Then the title of the movie comes up. Then it then goes back to like 14 hours before, I think. I don't know, where we're given this like history about Tony Stark and talks about Howard Stark and Stark Industries for the most part. And then we are introduced to Obadiah Stane, played by Jeff Bridges. And then after that, we then see War Machine. We do see War Machine, but as just Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes, played by Terrence Howard, and not Don Cheadle. And there's numerous amount of reasons why he left. Why Don Cheadle replaced him. But then after this, we then cut to a casino scene. Then after that casino scene, it's the next morning. Then we meet Pepper Potts, and then Happy Hogan, and then Tony goes to like the place where everything happens and such, where he does the missile test on the Jericho missile, and yeah, and then after this missile test, that's when everything happens, and he wakes up in a cave with shrapnel in his heart. But when he wakes up, he realizes that he's in this cave with another hostage, Professor Yunsen, who put this magnet thing in his chest, and he's been captured by the Ten Rings, and they want Tony Stark to hold on, let me think, to make weapons for them. But Tony Stark sees a double cross, and then he uses all the missile parts to make the Mark I, and he's able to escape and then come home. But once he comes back, he then creates the rest of the Iron Man armors. Well, at least Mark II and III. He starts with Mark II. He creates it, and it's all silver and such. And then he takes it on a test flight, and it's awesome, I have to say. Especially for this being a 2008 movie. Sorry if this is not a good movie review, but I try my best. But anyway, once he gets into the sky, the armor freezes, then he comes back, and then he makes it back home, only to have like a giant hole in his roof from when he tried to step on it. And let me think. Hold on, I'm trying to think of what happens next. Hold on, I'm trying to think of what happens next. I can't remember because I haven't seen the movie in so long, but I think what happens next is that he then does test modifications to it, and then there's like this party scene where he meets Coulson and such. And then, like, he gets photos on what happened, like, who the people that did this to him were. And then that's when we are introduced to the Mark III. And I really do like the Mark III, even though it's basically just the Mark II with red and gold. But either way, I still think it's nice. Then after that, he then fights some terrorists, then pulls one out, and then pulls a terrorist hiding behind a wall. Then after that, he shoots a tank that shot him out of the sky. And hold on. After that, he then goes to flight, and then the military confuses him for an enemy. Then they try to shoot him down with F-22 Raptors, but he ends up colliding with one of the wings of this F-22 Raptor, and the pilot has trouble escaping until Iron Man, of course, helps him break free. Then after that, we're introduced to a news meeting and such. Then after this, I think what happens is that Obadiah it's turned out Obadiah was the one that initiated that attack on Tony, I think. Then it turns out he's in the big arc reactor room. I don't remember what that reactor room is called. And then let me think. And then he tries to like make something else, and it's the Ironmonger suit. But the scientists who are making it say they need like the arc reactor to it, and so he then steals the arc reactor from Tony Stark. And then so Tony is left without the arc reactor, but thankfully he still has the other Mark 1 arc reactor, and I forgot to mention earlier, he does get the arc reactor replaced with a different one, and the different one is the one Obadiah steals, but the original Mark 1 arc reactor is the one he gets back. Then after that, he then suits up, and one thing that's kind of funny is that earlier I mentioned Terrence Howard was the one that played Rhodey in this movie, but then he mentions, then the Terrence Howard Don Cheadle, sorry about that, then Terrence Howard Rhodey looks at the Mark II and says, "Next time, baby," obviously implying that he was going to be War Machine, when in reality, he did not. Then after this, Pepper's at the Stark Industries lab with Coulson, and then Obadiah attacks, but Iron Man comes in, and then Ironmonger and Iron Man face off in the middle of a highway, battling each other and such. And then they finally defeat Ironmonger by using the big reactor in Stark Industries lab by overloading it and causing like this blue beam to shoot up into the sky and such. And then, spoiler alert, Ironmonger then falls into the reactor, causing it to explode. Then the next day, there's a press conference over at Stark Industries explaining what happened and such. Tony Stark is there, and then that's when he reveals everything. He then explains it in one word, basically. I am Iron Man. Yep. Anyway, yeah, there's my review on the very first Iron Man movie. Bye.